welcome to the March 2nd Hemp Show powered by CannTrade. My name is Mark Restelli. I'm the CEO of CannTrade and the host of the Hemp Show. Joining us next on the Hemp Show is Stacey Fujimura with Zing Bar. Stacey has been in sales for over 25 years. Her early days were spent as a diamond and gold wholesaler, Bling Bling. Her first job in natural foods was with Zevia Soda Company, the first stevia-sweetened soda. Stacey is currently the national sales manager for Zing Bar, which has 3 lines of bars: Zing, Keto, and ZBD. I think I might know what's in that last line of bars. Stacey has been with Zing Bar for the past 12 years, since 2009. Thank you for joining us, Stacey, and welcome to the Hemp Show.
Yeah, first of all, thank you and Sarah. You've made this whole introduction to CannTrade very seamless, great customer service. So thank you so much. And I'm super excited because this is our first product placement on an online marketplace. You know, this is a very new product for us. The company is called Front Range Foods. They're based in Boulder, Colorado. That's where our CEO is at, and he's sourced our hemp and CBD oils in Colorado. But anyways, thank you very much, Mark and Sarah, for this. And like I said, it's just such a new product for us. And this is what it looks like. And it's just a protein nutrition snack bar. You know, not that we're traveling just yet, but once we do, you know, we're definitely going to want some on-the-go snacks and nutrition. They're high in protein. They, of course, they taste good, but we're fine. You know, I've been in the bar industry for quite some time now, and before the pandemic hit, you know, there was a definite need for snacks, and you know, not only that, but kids going to school, they wanted a snack. So we thought, you know, and also all of us here at Front Range Foods, we use CBD, whether it's in, you know, a pill or topical. I'm going to have to get in touch with Johanna, because I'm very interested in trying some new topicals. I have the shoulder ailment, and I do very well with topical CBDs and ingesting them. So each one of our bars has 20 milligrams of CBD, and I find, you know, I you know, a couple of them a day, and for me, you know, each person's going to get a different effect, but for me, CBD is kind of a calming effect, and it's pain and inflammation relief. And so
Excellent. So when we first chatted, I mean, when I first heard of Zing Bar, I was extremely excited because I previously mentioned that I started a bar company with formulations. One of the things that I thought about with the bar company was that some of these legacy bar companies aren't really willing to jump into the space with CBD because it's kind of controversial as far as the CBD and THC situation. So hearing that Zing Bar just dove right into it with their ZBD bar was awesome, because this is a product that I resonate with.
Right. And, you know, we're hoping to get more bars out there, because as you know, Mark, the more bar companies are in a, you know, little section, then people they gravitate towards that, and then they want to try them. Right now, you know, we're the only one out there, you know, in some, you know, in a particular retailer, and it's just it's hard to, you know, to see sell through. So that's why we're super excited to be on CannTrade and you know, to get more visibility that way. And
well, it's a perfect lifestyle product for someone who lives an active lifestyle, you know, especially with fitness. I eat multiple bars a day, and if I could have those bars, you know, high protein bars, keto bars, but something with CBD in it, that would be perfect for me.
yeah,
Especially because in some of the previous conversations we've had, for example, with the CBD Food Network with Swarnjeet, you know, they look at CBD as really no different than salt, right? So it's really more, although it has all these medical benefits with the cannabinoid receptors, the CB1, CB2 receptors, and so on, all these things we're figuring out more and more every day. However, the way they look at it is, like I said, it's more of just an ingredient. This is something that could be utilized in your everyday products to help your body and help your overall wellness as a homeostabilizer for your body.
Yeah. You know, and our bars are extruded, and you know, they're not, you know, there's no heat applied to them, and it's kind of like a chewy texture. The great thing about it is substantial. So let's say you don't have time for lunch, you're going to get anywhere between 7 to 6 grams of protein in this little bar. And there's no added junk. We don't use sugar as our sweetener. We're using organic agave and a little bit of tapioca fiber. The other things, if people are watching their sugars, each bar only has 4 to 5 grams of sugar, which is great for a bar because most of them have anywhere between 20 to 30 grams of sugar.
And real quick question on the sugar. I mean, that's
Yeah,
likely from one of the binding agents or something. It's not
so there's
necessarily added cane
the
sugar.
gram, right? There's no added sugar or corn syrup. The sugar is coming from the agave, which is naturally sweet, the tapioca fiber, and then both bars are not enrobed in chocolate, but they do have little baby chocolate chips and has a little bit of a sugar to sweeten up the chocolate chips.
That's
But
excellent. So
yeah,
question here on how Zing Bar kind of got into the CBD space.
yeah,
I'm curious because, like I said, as a legacy bar company, one that's been around with
yeah,
products long before putting CBD in them, how has that experience been? And what was really that decision or that determiner to say,
right,
hey,
yeah,
we think that adding CBD bars is going to improve our overall customer experience, so we're going to do it.
yeah.
What was that like?
So part of that was, of course, our founder, registered dietitian, master's in nutrition science, and living in Boulder, Colorado, where sometimes people call it the hemp or the CBD capital of the U.S. We, would go to a lot of these networking groups that had to do with food products, and a lot of teas and chocolates and gummies were being represented. And so he started thinking, hey, why can't we put CBD hemp into one of our bars? And then our customer service line would get requests saying, hey, I love your bars, but I'm also taking some tinctures, but it'd be great if I could combine my tincture in with a bar. And so about 18 months ago, David in Boulder, got a team together and decided to, come up with a CBD infused bar. Now, mind you, this is our second version. Our first version only had 10 milligrams, and feedback was it just wasn't enough. So we upped it to 20 milligrams
Oh,
per.
excellent.
Yeah. And then, there's transparency with, all of our third party testing. There's a QR code on each one, and it'll give you the certifications of, the ingredients and, all the third party testings that we have for our CBD and the other ingredients. Um,
Now, now I'm still kind of on the line of like getting started and how Zingbar
yeah.
got into it. Um, if you've been in the cannabis or the hemp space for quite a while, you've gotten shut down for something, whether it's a business not wanting to work with you, a bank
Mhm.
shutting off your merchant processing, so one of those things. Has Zingbar experienced any of that?
Yeah, so I'm up here in the Pacific Northwest. So, I was trying to get the ZBD. This was a little bit right before the pandemic set in. Was trying to get the ZBD bars into the dispensaries here in the state of Washington, and they had a rule that if you had a dispensary that sold, marijuana, you could not sell 100% CBD hemp products. But if you had a glass shop, then you could. So then I started hitting some of the glass shops. But being a dispensary, you can't afford to have a separate storefront for glass shop and dispensary items. And so they're very few and far between. So then I headed down to Oregon and got into some of the retailers there that were open to trying a CBD hemp bar. There's a lot of great progressive grocery stores in the Oregon, Portland area. And and then there's some confusion with what the FDA wants, and it kind of depended on each region. So some regions would tell them, "Oh, you got to take out all of your CBD products. It's not a food product." And then same thing happened in California. We got into some of the natural food stores, and they shut us down. So right now, the only place that we're selling is at Sprouts in Colorado, and we're with a small distributor there. But so that's why I'm super excited to be able to present to all of your followers, because if there's a bunch of online stores that, maybe can get around the regulations, or having a FDA or, Department of Agriculture person come in who's having a bad day that day. Because it's interesting, because in California, we were in a store that was in several different counties, and Orange County would get reviewed and be, oh yeah, you're fine, you could keep the ZBD on the shelf. LA County, their inspector would come in and was having a bad day and said, no, you need to pull everything. And so there was no consistency within the state. And
Right.
so we found Colorado is right now the the most consistent. And yeah, but I'm hoping, we can get a little bit more online action
Yeah.
going until there's until the FDA makes it clear what's allowed and what's disallowed.
Right. And you mentioned, I mean, it's wild, all these things you mentioned, with some counties allow it, some didn't allow it, and
Yeah.
some states allow it. I mean, I know for a fact, out here in California, I mean, especially people in other states, they think one of the natural outlets would be like a dispensary, right? But when
Right.
it falls under the state's medical marijuana or recreational marijuana laws, they prohibit CBD that's not in the track and trace system.
Oh,
So
yeah.
in those cases, you're now barred from having your Zing Bars at any dispensary out
Right.
here. And then
Yeah.
also they put in other rules, or other counties have things on CBD stores. So
Right.
they're basically just kind of, putting handcuffs on you and what you can do to get
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
product out to customers.
Yeah. Another thing is packaging. So different states want you to put different things on the packaging. And then, so Florida, we had gotten into a bunch of the Florida stores of Sprouts, but then come to find out there was one line that we were missing in our packaging. And so then that nixed that. But Colorado was fine with our packaging. So,
I
um,
know, I know exactly what you're talking about. I had to throw
yeah.
away, I think it was like 80 or 100,000 units of
Oh, wow.
packaging,
Yeah.
because it was missing, one line.
Yeah.
And boom, you got
Yeah.
to reorder that. Then that takes a good month or
Oh,
two to get back. But I want to kind of shift gears a little bit and talk more about the product specifically.
mhm.
So few questions here. What type of infusion are you using for the products? As far as, like, are you using a broad spectrum, full spectrum, isolate, distillate?
Yeah. So,
Are you familiar with that as far as the CBD
yeah.
and what's
So,
going into the bar?
yeah, so I think, let's see, it is a CO2 extracted, and it's a broad spectrum.
Okay.
And yeah.
That's one of the, I mean, that's excellent. So I mean, that's one of the cleanest ways. Obviously, CO2, you're not using some type of a volatile substance or solvent
Right.
necessarily. You're just using
And then, yeah,
CO2.
of course, our grower says, they're certified pesticide free, and then part of that QR code is it'll show you the certificates, third party lab testing.
And then what about the shelf stability? How long do
Yeah,
these
so a
products last?
12-month shelf life, hopefully you wouldn't have it that long, but yeah, 12 months shelf life.
Excellent. Well, either way, that's, I mean, this was a fast 15 minutes, so it's getting toward the end
Yeah.
of our time. If you're
Well, thank
interested
you.
in connecting with Stacey and Zing Bar, please add them to your network on CannTrade. You can also place orders and ask questions directly from the Zing Bar wholesale store, posted in the webinar chat, also in the CannTrade feed, and in the podcast and YouTube show notes. Thank you very much for joining us today, Stacey.
Yes, thank you, Mark. And thank you, Sarah.
Awesome. She can hear you. She's over
Okay, great.
here. Awesome. Thank you.